Hi there, welcome back to the garage. Today's video is the follow-up from last week's, which was doing the front suspension spring on the 1 Series on the BMW. The spring had broken, it had dropped, so we replaced it, but we upgraded it to the Eibach Pro kit. Today is the second part of that. We've done the fronts last week. This week we're doing the rears. So let's get stuck straight in and get them rear springs changed. These rears are a lot easier to do than the fronts. So we'll get the jack under, we'll get it under the cross member. We'll have it in the air. We've got links to all the parts and tools in the description below if you need them. Now when this is finished, it's going to be low, but it's not going to be that low. That one is on coilovers and it's absolutely slammed, which is unpractical with our, roads and speed humps and stuff. We'll whiz these wheels off of here. Get that Milwaukee gun in there. What a piece of kit. Get the wheels off both sides. This one's stuck on. It's a bit corroded, so we use that copper hide hammer to whiz it off. And we've got the sander polish there just to get the corrosion off that hub. We'll give it a quick whiz round. Alright, so, come down here. These rear springs are a lot easier to get out than the fronts, obviously. The way this arrangement is, we're just going to take out the bottom bolt there on this bottom arm. And also, we're going to undo the shock absorber. And then this bottom arm will swing down and we can drop the spring out. In theory, let's see how we get on. I've got the old rust off. Let's get squirting in there. We need some on the bottom of that. On the bottom of that shock absorber there. And we need a bit on the end of this nut for the bottom arm as well. So 17mm nut on the bottom there. Let's see how tight it is. Oh, you little gem. Straight off. Right, we've got axle stands under both sides. We can let that jack down. So we can put the jack under here and support the arm while we take the bolt out. Just pop the jack up slightly. There we go. That's the nut out of that. We'll just get his bolt out now. There it goes. We'll let that jack down, then we can just get a lever in here and just lift that hub up there, just dislocate that joint. Good. There it goes. That's pretty tight, the old shock absorber seems to be a bit stuck in there. We might have to give that a tap to get it through. She's well stuck. We'll get a bit of lube in there as well. Whatever you do, don't squirt it on your phone. I can't believe I squirted lube all over my phone. There might be some blurry patches on there now. Not one of my better ideas. You're better off with a socket, which we'll use in a minute. This is just going to slip off. Okay, now we're on it. Oh, that was a fail. So on the bottom of the shock absorber, there's a little slot to get a spanner on it, and I should be able to just wiggle that and better look, wiggle it with some load on it and it should come through. So let's try with the jack again, and I've got just a little socket that will hopefully sit on the bottom of that a bit better. Don't want it to knacker the thread up though. All that is just the thready part of the shock absorber at the bottom, and you're just pushing it through a rubber bush that's bolted into the bottom arm. Just to push it up slightly. If I get it going, it might work its way through. You're just never sure how tight it's going to be within that bush. Sometimes they can be really tight. This one did seem to rotate, so it shouldn't be too bad. But I'm just being a bit overcautious on this thread. Let's have a go at that. There it goes, there it goes. Once we get spray, just have a little bit more spray in there, a bit of lube-a-doo. There we go, here we go. Here it comes. Right, let's push up far as the nut now, so let's drop that down again. Let's get that nut off the bottom. Okay. Yeah, now the spring's doing its work on its own. I think I better just get that up there just in case it pings off. It shouldn't do. It shouldn't do anything. You ready for a bit of leg action?
A bit close to it. Right, that'll do. There we goes. There he goes.
Yeah, the tension's out of that now, so.
Just wiggly, wiggly, wiggle it. Drop it, drop it, drop it. And that's out of there. So now I should be able to wrestle this spring out of it if I can just get a bit more leverage on that. Here it comes. There's his spring out. There's one. And as for the springs, we've got a little treat. We've got the Eibach Pro kit. These are like M Sport springs, but I wanted some really good quality ones because I don't want to be busting springs, because these cheap aftermarket ones, they always break. But if I get decent Eibachs on it, they're going to be absolutely beautiful. These new ones, they're both exactly the same. There's no difference. The part number is the same on them both, but we want the writing to be the right way up. We've got the little rubber that comes off the top of the old one there, so we'll drop that on. It's got a little locator in the bottom of it. We'll make sure that's in the same place as the one that came off. Get that on there. Like that, and then we can have that back up into position. There's also a locator in the bottom here, in this bottom arm. The length on them, the new one is just slightly shorter than the old one, which is going to help us getting it in. It's going to make life just a tiny bit easier. Right, let's get this in.
It is a bit of a tight squeeze and a bit fiddly, pushing down that bottom arm there, that hanger, and squeezing that up there. The other side, there's a bit more room. This one's a little bit more compact, but it will go in there. Just feed it into its cup at the bottom, making sure it's in the right place. Just push that down out of the way and just fumble it in. The top one just sits nicely into its little cup holder at the top. Almost there. Just got to rotate it a tad.
Like that. Make sure we're locating the bottom bit in the right place, which looks to be right just about there. We'll get that shock absorber back in its hole. Like that. You can see here. Can you see the bottom? That bottom spring there has got to locate into its little rubber, which we're nearly there. The top one is going into its holder there, and we know that's located right.
And you can also see there the bottom of the shock absorber where it locates into that rubber cup at the bottom there.
There it is. That should now go up into place. So we'll get the jack under that, and I can lift that all back up into position now.
So get that leg on there and have that jack up. It would be a lot easier if I'd actually tightened the shaft up on the jack and it didn't keep dropping down. But you can see there, we're just trying to get that lined up so that shock absorber comes back through that rubber. They can be tight going back through because the angle is slightly off without the shock absorber through it.
Just making sure that it's all going in where it should do as we're jacking it up.
Also, you've got to get it past that bottom bush there, the one that's at the bottom of the hub where we took the big bolt out through. And again, if that's not perfectly lined up, they can be a little bit tight going through. Just keep trying to wiggle it and move it about a bit as we're jacking it up there, just trying to relocate that. It's a bit tight there. If you get a bit more tension on it, just keep jacking it up a bit more. Just keep checking it, making sure that we don't want to chew that thread up or anything. It's going through a rubber, so it should be okay. You'll just give it a little wiggle. It's going to drop in a minute. It's got to go in. We're getting up quite high now. Almost there. Another little wiggle. Pass. There it is. Perfect.
Alright, and then we can get the big bolt back through the whole lot.
Again, it's another alignment issue. This all moves, the bush moves in the bottom, so you've got so much movement there. You can see that shock absorber dropping as I'm just tapping that as well, so that's coming back through a bit more. But that bolt's just not quite there yet. We don't have to worry about getting the wheel alignment set up once we've changed these springs. It's not going to affect that.
It's a little bit skew with, isn't it?
It's close. A bit more leverage. Oh, it's so close now. The beauty of having the camera filming this as well, I can actually see the other side of the bolt without looking at it. There you go, I'm just looking at what you're saying. I can see this coming through.
So that bit more leverage on it. And we can have a big nut back on the back. Jack it up a tad first and make sure that that shock absorber is coming through. Let me just get the spanner on that and give that a little wiggle again. Yeah, there we go. Here it comes. Yeah, that's looking nice. We'll get that nut back on the bottom of that. Yeah, lovely. Oh, we can waz that up first. Let's get that one up tight. Oh. So that's the shock absorber back through.
Then we can get this bottom bolt done up as well. We'll get the gun on that. We've got to hold the other side though. There it is. We'll get that up nice and tight. We'll just keep reefing that up. And then we can pull it through the bar as well. Yeah, it's getting there now. Oh, that's tight.
Oh, yeah. Whew. You can see there, that's all sitting nicely. Back where it needs to be, shock absorber's in. That's going to need changing at some point. It's looking a bit corroded. It's not leaking though, so it's all good at the minute. And that top rubber's all nicely in. Super, super. One side done. Let's go to the other side.
We'll pursue this one a little bit quicker and highlight anything where we have any issues. First thing first is that shock absorber bolt there off the bottom. We'll just whiz that off. Bit of lube in there again, in that rubber.
Socket was still stuck to the other side. Good job. I had to do this one. I was going to left it on there and lost my socket. Oh dear. Brain dead. Right, let's have this bolt out here.
You can see this one from the other side, taking the longer piece out and just winding it with the gun there.
There we go. And then we can drop that jack down again.
And this one did come out easier than the other side. A few wiggles of the spanner and out she pops.
There it goes. Yeah, we're out. Right, let's stand on that again. And back this side in. This one might have to come from the top and out that way. Looking at that. There we go. Got this new one to go back in, get it right around, writing upwards. I'll have the top bit on first, which is going to sit in. There, just like that. And the bottom one in.
Just watch you don't trap your light when you put it all back in, because you might not be able to get it out again.
Got my bloody light stuck in there. That was a fail, wasn't it? Oh, get the light out.
It's just playing a little bit hard to get on that bottom there, just not quite sitting properly. Just needs to be tweaked round a tad so it drops into its little rubber cup. And that little rubber dobber on the top there should sit into its little cup at the top. So we're about there. Oh, yeah, come on. Little wiggle.
Yeah, it's just there like that. And that one in there like that. Let's get that shocker all back through its hole.
Again, just a little bit of a wiggle, left to right, get it located in that bottom bush.
Make sure everything's all in place. That looks pretty good. And we've just got to get that across and get the jack back under it, then going up.
So we just manipulate it, jack it up, in it goes, ready for the bolt to go through.
There it is.
So we can jack it right up to get that shock absorber through. We'll get the 17mm nut on there. We can hold the bottom of that shocker in place while we rig it up. That takes out a lot of the work, that electric ratchet, and we can just finish it off by hand till it's up nice and tight. You will always have side to side movement on this because it is through the rubber, don't forget.
There we go, that's that in.
And again, we'll finish off that bottom bolt, give that a good whizzing up and just tweak it with the dart. Lower that jack out and that's that side done. We can get that jack back up underneath the middle of that cross member there on the subframe. Pop out them axle stands. We'll give this wheel a quick clean round there and drop a bit of alley grease on, save it sticking. Save that stick into the hub again. And then we can pop the wheels back on and whiz these bolts up. Nearly done. Look at that gun, what a magic bit of kit. Same with the other side, we'll pop that one back on again. Then we can lower the jack out. Oh, it's sitting nice, look at that. We'll roll that backwards and forwards a few times and it will just drop down, it will settle nicely. Just backwards and forwards a couple of times. Look how that's sitting now, it's absolutely beautiful. It's not too high, not too low. Still get over speed humps, but you're going to get that super ride. She'll handle like a little gem, a bit like a go-kart.
So there we have it. The 1 Series has now got new springs all round. The Eibach Pro Kit, it's lowered it down to 35mm. Looks absolutely beautiful. It's going to settle a bit more once we get driving it around. It's going to, yeah, super big, and it drives lovely. I've had it on the 3 Series, the Pro Kit, and it's an absolute, well, it changed it. It made it a different car. Really nice, beautiful ride, really nice. Not too harsh, but stiff when you need it into the bends and on the dips and stuff. It just really stiffens it up nicely. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please just drop me a little thumbs up, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.